Hey there everyone, my name is Laura, and once the Roundtable Kingdom is allowed to reopen, I will be the district manager. Today we're going to be making something called apple butter. I'm pretty excited, it sounds delicious, but I don't have any idea how to make it, so I'm going to let our fantastic chef Paul take over. Because of social distancing, he is keeping his distance, so I'm just going to get out of his way and let him take over.
So today we're going to make a wonderful preserve called apple butter. Now don't let the name deceive you, there's no butter in this. The wonderful thing about apple butter is that living here in Canada, we have a wide varietal of apples to choose from. So to start off, I'm going to start with some Granny Smith apples. You can also use Gala apples, maybe some Spartans. Typically some bitter baking apples is the best way to go for this. So to make apple butter, the one thing we're gonna have to use is something like a crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot at home, you can also use a standard pot on top of your stove. The big thing here is we don't want to let it sit there unattended for a long period of time, though this does take a long time to make. So we're going to get started here, and in my ingredients listing here we have two pounds of Granny Smith apples chopped up into pieces, peeled and cored. In this bowl here, I have 3 tablespoons of regular caster sugar and also packed brown sugar. Here I have a half a tablespoon of ground cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and I have a half teaspoon of vanilla extract. I also have something a little bit special here, which is just a touch of bourbon, but that's just because I love that flavor profile. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started off with getting our beautifully cored and peeled apples into our crock pot.
Can you use other types of alcohol?
Absolutely. This is a fantastic way to manipulate the flavor profiles of what we're doing. So I personally would say that when you first start out, my suggestion is using a few tablespoons of water. And if you like just the standard flavor of apple butter, by all means go for it. For me, having that beautiful little bit of smoke flavor that the bourbon creates, absolutely love that. You can also use scotches, whiskeys, if you really wanted to, maybe a touch of wine. Maybe at the end you want to manipulate it a little bit to incorporate some spice, throw in a little bit of chili paste. It's basically, the world is your oyster. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw in all of our mixture. So we have simple sugar mixtures, our salt and our cinnamon, and just getting that all nice and in there. The one thing that you don't need to really worry about in this recipe is oxidization. Now when we talk about oxidization, whenever you peel an apple, there's a good chance that that apple over a long period of time is going to start going brown. Okay? Now, because we're caramelizing this recipe down, and it's going to turn out to be brown in the long run, you don't really need to worry about it. But if you really don't want your apples or your potatoes to oxidize, the best way to hold them is usually in water with a touch of lemon juice. With potatoes, I would just simply say cold water is a good way to hold them. That way they don't turn brown and they stay that beautiful, vibrant color. So now I'm going to add in my vanilla extract into the mixture, and then I'm going to give this a nice good mixing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, like I said before, you could use water for this. I just personally like a little bit of bourbon. Yet again, scotches, whiskeys, whatever you prefer, maybe some rum. And then we're going to let this now cook off in our crock pot for about 8 hours. It might take a little bit longer. Might take a little bit less. It depends on how much liquid really comes off of there. What we're looking for is a dark, syrupy brown, sticky liquid amongst our beautifully brown poached apples. So every 2 hours, I'd like you to come back to your crock pot or the pot on your stove that's simmering at a low temperature and give it a nice little stir. Then put the lid back on. We don't want a lot of liquid to escape from this mixture because we're trying to turn it into a caramel.
Hey there everybody, welcome back. We have let the apple butter sit overnight, and we are going to be doing part 2 today. If you want to know more about the apple butter and how to order it, you can go to our website, www.theroundtablekingdom.com, or you can visit our Facebook page. We will be doing curbside pickup if you'd like to order some of the kits. We're doing the lembas bread, the apple butter, and the panna cotta as well. All right, and if you want, you can send us pictures, leave comments, let us know what you're thinking about this, and send us pictures of you guys using the kits with your families. All right, we're gonna bring back Paul and we're gonna finish off the apple butter.
All right, so what I've done is we've had our apple butter and we've been putting it into a slow cooker for 8 hours. Every few hours I've been stirring it just to make sure that it doesn't burn to the bottom. But what we were really trying to get to is get to that beautiful caramel stage where it gets like deep and dark and delicious. And obviously we also want to reduce as much of that liquid as possible. We don't want this to be very liquided or light in tone. We want it to be very dark and rich so we have a nice, beautiful apple butter. So I'm just gonna bring over exactly what we got here. And so in the crock pot here, I've basically been cooking this off. You can still see it going here. And it's a nice, beautiful smell. And what we got is, you can see here that it's just that nice, beautiful caramel.
That looks awesome.
Oh yeah, and it smells absolutely amazing. So if you find that it's not sweet enough for your liking, that you can also add in maybe like a liquid sugar like maple syrup or corn syrup. You could add in regular caster sugar, but it just doesn't cook down at the same rate, so it will be kind of grainy when you eat it. So definitely using a liquid sugar like maple syrup would definitely be a great way to go. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna transfer our apple butter into a container here. And then you're gonna see the actual finishing product of this. Now we have our finishing product here, and all we have is just our apple butter here. And yet again, if you're using a regular home blender that has the lid on it, make sure to remove the center part and put a rag over top to make sure that that heat does not explode into your face. So I'm using a standard immersion blender here, and we're going to basically just give this a nice good blending until it becomes nice and smooth. And then if you want to adjust anything else at this point in time, I definitely would. If you want to add in a pinch of salt or anything, it's definitely a great way to go. But as far as we got, we're gonna just do a nice little tasting here to make sure everything is good, like always. Oh, that's perfect. And that is our homemade apple butter. And yet again, you can also freeze this stuff so you can have it for a very long period of time. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.